Josiah Henson was corresponding with Harriet Beecher Stowe when she was writing a serial, because Uncle Tom's Cabin first was published as a serial in a newspaper. And, she took a lot of his life and editorialized and created the figure of Uncle Tom. Years later, Uncle Tom, the now Josiah Henson, the real Uncle Tom, as he was calling himself, is living in Dresden, Ontario. And I think it's really important to understand that I don't believe that Josiah Henson wanted to perform or travel the world as Uncle Tom, but financial constraints and sort of economic hardships sort of made an impetus for him to say, well, if people are going to pay me to go and speak at a hall and perform this caricature of a character from a novel, I think I'm going to do that. So that's really how Josiah Henson gets implicated in the Uncle Tom narrative. And then what he does is that he tours what then would have been the English speaking Western world. And he goes to London, he meets the Queen, and he performs for Queen Victoria. And, he's sort of lauded as the real life Uncle Tom. In terms of the impact of that in the 19th century, I think it's a really complicated conversation because, how many Black men were working and traveling the world in the 19th century? Like, if we put it in context, it's actually quite extraordinary that he was able to sort of manifest this situation for himself. But what it also said was that the good Black male, the successful Black male, is one who performs the role of Uncle Tom. And so Uncle Tom lives on as a means to gain employment and to be accepted into sort of the mainstream culture. And that's why his legacy is it's just a complicated legacy where you don't want to debase him, because I think he's a significant figure, but what he was required to do ended up in the long term kind of keeping Black masculinity in a box.